does the United States have a message to people in Pakistan after the controversial elections?
Well, first, millions of Pakistanis went to the polls today to vote, and I will reiterate that Pakistan's future leadership is for the Pakistani people to decide, and our interest continues to be in the democratic process. We strongly condemn all instances of election-related violence, both in the weeks preceding elections, as well as those that transpired on Election Day. These kinds of election-related violence, we believe, affected a broad range of political parties across Pakistan. It impacted polling stations, election officers, as well as the Election Commission. And as you heard me say earlier in the week, we are concerned about the restrictions on the exercise of freedom of expression. We are tracking reports of restrictions on internet and cell phone access across Pakistan on polling day. And we, along with the international community, will continue to emphasize the importance of democratic institutions, a free press, a vibrant civil society, and expanded opportunities for political participation of all of Pakistan's citizens. But I'm not going to get ahead of any of the other official election results, so I'm not going to comment on this any further.
How would you characterize the working relationship between the United States and Pakistan moving forward?
Look, you heard me say is that what you heard me say is that when it comes to Pakistan's leaders, that is for the people of Pakistan to decide. Our interest is in the democratic process, and we are interested in taking the appropriate steps to continue to foster our relationship, our partnership with the government of Pakistan, whatever it should be. Sure, go ahead.
So, following up on Pakistan, thank you for taking the question. So far, the preliminary results have Imran Khan's party, I think, at this point, with leading in 136 districts. That's 3 times the next closest one. You're now seeing reports in Pakistan of 2 separate things. One, the army is in the streets, the police are in the streets, they're surrounding polling stations, and you're seeing a lot of reports and videos of efforts to change the votes. They're kicking election officials out. There's a lot of concern that number 136 by tomorrow morning in Pakistan could be pushed down lower. Separately, you're seeing also surface in Pakistan an attempt by the kind of military-connected officials to take the independents who are associated with PTI and pressure them to join other parties. So even though Imran Khan's party might win a majority, after torture and bribery, you could have a different government take power. So you've, from the podium, stood up for free and fair elections. But free and fair elections are one thing, but if you torture your way to a majority after that, that doesn't quite live up to kind of the values that you were stating from there. So this seems like a pretty pivotal moment for America and Pakistan relations.
Look, Ryan, the thing about preliminary results is that they are preliminary, and I am not going to get ahead of any official results, and so I'm not going to comment or speculate further on what a government could look like, what the makeup could be, or anything like that.
So you would be okay
what I will just reiterate again is that we condemn all instances of election-related violence, even some of the kinds that you are describing, that took place in the weeks preceding the election as well as on Election Day. We also believe that these kinds of actions have affected a number of political parties across Pakistan. And we're also concerned about the steps that were taken to restrict freedom of expression, specifically around internet and cell phone use. But again, I'm just not going to speculate on results or government makeup.
But let's say the Pakistani people do elect a majority of independents associated with the PTI, but then after a bunch of backroom negotiations, which are accompanied by reports of torture, all of a sudden there's another candidate that has a majority. Would that be okay with the United States?
I'm not gonna
you can't say that wouldn't be okay with the United States.
I'm not going to hypothesize on a made-up situation that you're just describing right now. We will, at some point, I have no doubt that the United States of America will comment on the official election results when they happen. But till then, we will defer to the electoral process, which we believe we take very missed seriously. You earlier. Go ahead. Yeah.
So, would the U.S. accept the results of Pakistan election while they're being tainted by rigging, violence, torture?
Again, I think I'm starting to sound like a little bit like a broken record on this, but we're going to continue to monitor the electoral process. We're not going to get ahead of any official results, and we want to see a process that took place in a way that allowed for broad participation, freedom of expression, peaceful assembly, and association. And there were some clear restrictions of the exercise of freedom that took place. Addressed some of those in speaking to Nike and Ryan's questions, specifically around internet and cell phone use, and those, of course, are concerning. We've also seen reports of election-based violence in the weeks leading up to this, as well as on election day. Those continue to be concerning, and those we believe have impacted a number of political parties. But again, I'm just not going to get ahead of this, and it is truly up to the people of Pakistan to decide their political future.
Just last question. Some here do think that U.S. has been apparently muted over human rights violations in Pakistan, but the focal point between bilateral talks or relations between US and Pakistan is the Pakistan military. So it doesn't really matter what's the outcome of the election is, because US prefers to deal with the Pakistan military. Is that true, that impression?
I would certainly take issue with that characterization. We are interested in first, let me take a step back. The makeup of the government of Pakistan is up for the Pakistani people to decide. What the United States is interested is in deepening our partnership and cooperation with the government of Pakistan, irregardless of what the makeup of the government is. That is not for us to decide. There are a number of areas which we believe we've got some strategic shared priorities, and we look forward to continuing to work in that space. All right.
Thank you.
Nick, I think that's all we got time for anyways. Go ahead.
So 2 questions then.
All right.
The first